Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So I wish I had better news, but it appears that we are headed for a full-blown recession. And I don't even think there's anything that Donald Trump can do at this point to stop it. And I'm going to explain why. So I have news to share about that, including warnings from economists, unemployment numbers, things like that. I also have news about why Donald Trump is imposing these ridiculous Canadian tariffs. So his administration basically just admitted it's not about what you think it is. It doesn't mean what you think it means. So here's the deal. A senior fellows at the Brookings Institution told Newsweek, quote, "The economy has a lot of momentum, and I don't see any signs that the U.S. has entered a recession, but I do wonder if we are at an inflection point. My major concern is that the on-again, off-again tariffs, the ripple effects of the ripple effects of the ham-fisted, Doge-led personnel policies, the challenges to long-held norms and institutions, policy making by Musk tweets or Trump Truth Social posts is creating uncertainty and anxiety that could lead businesses and maybe even investors to say, well, I think I'm going to wait and see. I'm also wondering if inflation is stuck above the Fed's 2% target and that all this tariff talk is raising inflation expectations. If so, the Fed will be increasingly reluctant to cut interest rates." So he is not saying we're in a recession yet, but he's concerned. And he's a little bit more optimistic than some others because there was an economics professor who had posted on Blue Sky last week, and he said, quote, "It seems almost unavoidable at this point that we are headed for a deep, deep recession." Then he also warned of the dangers of uncertainty as well in the market, and he said, quote, "The thing that probably has the markets most spooked is the sharp decline in consumer confidence, especially as consumption spending was the only thing holding up fourth quarter GDP growth, which was otherwise tepid." So again, I don't think that Donald Trump can reverse this at this point because people are now freaked out. JP Morgan is saying, he's telling investors, oh, it's a low chance, maybe 20% chance of recession. But billionaire Warren Buffett, who guy's wealthy for a reason, he's always been right, he is bracing for impact, it seems, because he just pulled a ton of his wealth out of the stock market. He, according to news reports that I saw, I think it was a few days ago or maybe last week, he is holding more cash right now than he ever has before. And big companies are now starting to implement changes in anticipation of the tariffs and the coming destruction. So Target, they announced that their sales are going down. Stock has been hit, sales are going down. They're also warning prices are likely to increase because of the tariffs. And then for the first time in their company's history, Stater Brothers grocery store chain announced that they're doing layoffs, or they already have, I guess, done some. So people were out picketing in Southern California because of this. And the CEO, a guy named Peter Van Helden, he announced that the layoffs are necessary because of inflation and because of Donald Trump's tariffs. And layoffs have skyrocketed in the past month. So there is an international job placement company. It's called Challenger Gray and Christmas. And they just published a report showing that job losses were up 245% in the last month. They clocked it as just over 172,000 layoffs in February. They said that is more than any single month since the middle of the pandemic, since we were in the worst of the pandemic. It's also the highest number of layoffs for any February since 2009. So since we were in the middle of the total mortgage meltdown, when global markets just imploded from the 2008 recession. So it's important to point out, of that 172,000 plus layoffs, just over 63,000 were government workers. So we're seeing not just, it's not just, oh, Doge, and because they're cutting employees, that's why the unemployment is going up. We're seeing a lot of layoffs in the private sector because of what Doge is doing, because of Donald Trump's administration. A good number of those private sector terminations are the downstream effects of what they're doing. Because, between the funding cuts, the funding freeze, the cutting of government programs, people at private companies, people at nonprofits, they are also losing their jobs. I've been sharing that with you guys, that there's all kinds of aid programs, and, people work for these companies. People work for these Christian nonprofits that were out trying to do good in the world and help people. And now they have to cut. I shared in a Trump regret video that one company said they were going to have to cut by 50% this year. So it's not a small thing. And this is going to take a toll on the economy. What so many people fail to understand, all the MAGA crowd who's cheering on Musk and his Doge boy band right now, when there's job and income insecurity, you have fewer consumers spending money. And that's why I say this is probably too late now for Donald Trump to turn this around. He's kind of let the genie out of the bottle, because when you create fear and uncertainty, and there's all this chaos in the markets and with jobs, and people don't know what's going on, and they see inflation going up, and they see prices, even more so, not coming down. When he was planning or promising, oh, day one, we're going to start reducing prices. They're seeing prices on everyday items going up. They're seeing gas prices going up. They're seeing housing not coming down. People get spooked and they go, oh my God, unemployment's going up. The job market's kind of like static for now, but now you have all these new people out there out searching for jobs in the workforce. And ask yourself this: who is a company going to hire? Are they going to hire a disabled vet who just came off a government employee or a government job, who is highly qualified? Or are they going to hire average Joe Schmo down the street? They're probably going to go for the disabled vet who was just laid off, who was working in government. They let go of a lot of talented, hardworking people who have shown that they're dedicated, they're, tough, they're willing to put their lives on the line for the country. They're obviously, not afraid of getting their hands dirty. And yeah, I mean, they're going to go for those employees first. So you just Trump just put a lot of highly qualified, very good candidates out into the job market, which is going to take jobs away from the other Americans who were searching. So, not good. Look at it this way. Here's the silver lining, guys. He's deporting so many people that, now there's going to be a lot of those jobs picking crops, right? Because Americans really want to do that backbreaking work, don't they? Anyway, and then it's just this vicious cycle, because people stop spending money. People start tightening their belts. They start putting money away. They're like, oh, I really needed this, or I really needed, an extra shirt or a pair of pants or a new car or whatever. But you know what? I just need to wait because this is too unstable. I'm too unsure of what's going on in the economy. Then companies don't have as much revenue coming in. So then they have to cut costs, and they have to lay off even more employees. Or some companies have to shut down completely. because they have a lack of business coming in. You know, fewer people are eating out. Fewer people are just making extra purchases. Fewer people are going on vacation. So again, it becomes a vicious cycle, and he set it off. So these government cuts are very bad for the economy. These tariffs are absurd, especially in regard to Canada, which leads me to what I mentioned in the beginning. So Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, I'm going to call her Leavitt forever. I know it's Levitt, but anyway, she may have let it slip that the real reason for his Canadian tariffs is not what you think. It's not because there's a trade imbalance. So check this out.
Well, the president put that in his True Social account, or his True Social post earlier today. He feels strongly that it would be very beneficial for the Canadian people to be the 51st state of the United States. They wouldn't be paying for these tariffs. They'd have much lower taxes if they were part of our great country.
So there you go. All of this pain and suffering Trump is inflicting on the American people, destroying the economy. I already told you, how much travel we're losing, how much revenue we're losing from people coming and visiting the United States. And this has nothing to do with a trade imbalance. It has nothing to do, it appears, with fentanyl crossing the border, which I've shared, I think, in another video. It's, less than half of 1% coming across the Canadian border. It has nothing to do with immigrants entering the US from Canada. This is about Trump's ego. This is about his imperialist agenda. So that, and I would also question why Trump seems hell-bent on destroying our country. I mean, think about it. You couldn't do more damage to the US in such a short period of time unless you were trying to. Especially when so much of what he's done makes zero sense. Why? Right? It's the enemy within that can most easily destroy us. Just saying, just throwing it out there. I don't know who it's to benefit. I don't know which company or which country benefits the most from it. I'm sure you guys can use your imagination. But yeah, it's almost as if he's trying to destroy the US. Anyway, guys, I'll let you know if I hear any more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Please donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.